This is the Esports exclusive, presented by DX Racer.
What's up everybody, Matt and Mathos here to bring you the latest news from the past week in esports. First off, some NBA teams that joined the NA LCS have announced their actual team names, and that's going to be for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the 100 Thieves, or 100 Thieves, because there's a big difference there, and then the Houston Rockets going with Clutch City Gaming.
Yeah, I'm not too big a fan of either one. I mean, I get Nadeshot and his brand. He's also apparently now the 100 Thieves brand manager for the entire event, so we'll be running all esports operations for the brand as a whole. On the other hand, with the Houston Rockets, Clutch City Gaming, you know, I get the historical reference with the city, but it still really sounds like a back alley comic book store with some really sketchy owners. Gaming as a whole, as far as I'm concerned, needs to get kicked to the curb as a suffix. We don't need any more. It doesn't sound hip. Pick esports. Everybody uses esports. It sounds a little bit more professional.
Riot Games also going to take over the LCK in a couple of years' time. They already have NA, EU, China on lockdown. Might as well just take over the rest of the regions.
Yeah, it's a new management, but apparently it's the same production squad. There's a good chance that Spot TV and OGN will be the front runners for the production side of things. They also are now renting out a studio till 2025, I believe. Calling it the LOL Park. So just because Riot is taking over everything in their own game doesn't necessarily make it a monopoly, because everybody still gets to run stuff, and everybody, so far so good, seems like they get to keep their jobs.
Sticking with Korean esports, Kespa's in a whole lot of trouble under investigation for bribery, embezzlement. Their operations have been raided time after time, and it keeps getting worse for Kespa.
Yeah, it started off with a small bribery charge, and it has now ballooned into a rolling boil of embezzlement to the tune of $289,000 USD. Kespa, or the Korean Esports Association's former chairman, Jeon Byung-hun, is being called in for questioning regarding all of the embezzlement. Apparently, he not only solicited bribes, but got all of his friends and family in really sweet positions. The real concern is Byung-hun is now one of the senior secretaries in the current South Korean president's cabinet. So if he's corrupt as hell in 2015, what is he doing right now to the Korean government? They're going to look to find out.
Good old Korean corruption.
It's one of those places you can't mess with. They have a whole police squad dedicated to esports corruption. What are you doing?
Well, apparently embezzlement is what he's doing. CSGO, a whole lot of news going on. Let's start with Steel, Immortals member, getting transferred to Team Liquid, replacing Stanislaw, their in-game leader.
Yeah, not only are we getting some trades there, but Dignitas, for all of you Six fans out there that still cared about this team, looks like they're folding up as a whole with the release of J. Kim and Asilian earlier in the year. Seems like the remaining three teammates are going to go free agent. And let's be serious here. With a lackluster season that they've had, I don't think very many people are going to be missing them.
Dignitas definitely in rough shape after losing the League of Legends team. Now their CSGO team has gone in the wind. G2 Esports also struggling. They're not going to be at ESL Pro League Finals.
No, they the defending champs from May. 13-13, tepid season. They got eliminated in a point differential. Hellraisers, the guys who actually took them, along with teams like Energy Gaming, ? Luminosity and Optic. They're pulling in on the North American side with Ninjas in Pajamas, FaZe, throwing it down in the Europe side. 12 teams are rolling in for the finals coming up in December, and it should be a barn burner, just not without G2.
Not without G2. Optic Gaming will be there. And Optic, obviously they're pretty decent at CSGO, but everyone knows them for their console shooters.
Oh boy, did they ever. And they kicked off the year with a murder train. They swept Luminosity. However, in EU and APAC, both Splice and Mindfreak also earned first place. They've got themselves 2,000 points in the pocket as well. Another tournament is rolling in this weekend to sure up the seeding, and then we're off to the races. Quite frankly, it's another battle for second place, because when Optic's in the field, the first place is just a lock.
Let's wrap things up with some Rocket League. Tell me about Gale Force Esports and what they did this past weekend.
Well, they are now your Season 4 World Championships, walking away with a cool $55,000. They met with Method in the winners finals, came out just on top 4-3, and then when Method managed to get themselves back in the grand finals, they didn't stand a chance. Gale Force stepped on their neck 4-0, and now they've got all the time in the world to spend their cash and get ready for the next season in 2018.
Speaking of spending cash, if you want one of these DX Racer chairs, go to dxracer.com, use the code SHOTCALLERS for 15% off your purchase. For Mathos, I'm Matt, and we'll see you next week.
This is the Esports exclusive presented by DX Racer.